Now it's time to replace the window switch. And unfortunately, to do that, we have to take off the door panel. And there are a lot of screws and clips that we need to get to, but that means a lot of camera angles. And so we're just going to tackle them one by one. So the first one we're going to do is this one here. And this is one of those screw clip things. So basically you gently unscrew it first and then you kind of pry it out. And obviously when you're working your Phillips, you don't want to press in at the same time because you won't get anywhere. Okay. There we go. And you can see the head is starting to come out. So this is good. Okay, so that screw came out and I should be able to, oh, you know what? Let's see if I can use this. There we go. And again, I want to be, I just pushed it back in. We want to be careful because we're using the store panel. There we go. Oh, come on. That seemed like a good idea. There we are. Yay! So you see that clip. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, so now there is a Phillips screw in the middle of the store cup here, and so we're going to go ahead and take that out. This is pretty straightforward. It's just a regular Phillips. There we go. And I should be able to, yep, lift that right out. Okay, now we're going to pry open this little door here, and there'll be a screw behind it. So, and again, you want to be careful. There we go. That was just about perfect. And so there's the little trap door, and woohoo, there's a screw inside. And as you can see behind the little trap door here is a Phillips. So let's go ahead and get this guy out. There we go. Oops. We got to be so careful not to strip out these old screws. Urgh. Okay, and it's hard because I don't want my head blocking the camera. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's move on. So this actually has to come off, and the easiest way to do that is lift up a little bit on the handle and get your thumb back here and push, and it should pop right out, which it did. This is good. So gently lay that back, and then this clip has to come off, and there's actually a little press button. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it presses down, and so I press down, oops, there, and nothing happens. Okay, come on, import car. There we go. Perfect. So we'll set that aside, and we're ready to move on. Now we're ready to take off the door panel. So much like the rear view mirror, it should just break away. We're going to put our hands underneath to begin with and just give it a sharp tug. And if all goes well, it should pull off. Now, before I disconnect it completely, once it's just kind of off and floating, we're going to hold off. I'll take it off, and then we'll show you what more to disconnect. So let's tackle this one thing at a time. So I've got my hands underneath. Oh, perfect. Okay, and you may have to bring one hand around this side because there's clips everywhere. Perfect. Oh, this is great. Okay, let's come up here. Oh, and this should slide. You don't need to take off this cap right there. So it just slides underneath. Awesome. Okay, so there's more stuff to do, but we were, change camera angles. So here are the 3 connectors that need to come off to get the door panel finally off. And so this one has that button again. So a quick shake, that's off. This one has a middle button that you squeeze and pull out. And then this guy as well should just, oh yeah, he has a middle button again at the top. So sometimes, there we go. Okay, and I'm getting caught on the door. Perfect, I'm gonna set this aside and we can finally move on. So now we'll be taking off the old window assembly. So to do this, there's 3 Phillips screws. 1, 2, and 3 right down the little tunnel there. So let's go ahead and take these off. Oops. first one. And we're going to reuse those, so set them aside. And now I'm going to go for this guy. And it's a little harder with the whole moving of the door. So if you can get someone to hold it for you, it'll probably be a little bit easier, but we shall make do. Let's see. It's loose. I wonder if I can just... Nope, not that loose. Okay. Let's go for this one. There we go. Okay, so that screws out. And I know I got this one good and loose, so it may, yeah, it's still attached. There we go. You guys just ever have one of those days? This is feeling like one of those days a little bit. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna, there's the screw. And the old window assembly is out. And so now we're going to go ahead and compare. And while this one is extremely filthy, they are still the same exact component. So we are really ready to throw in the new one. Okay, so now we're going to put in the new one. So you can see where there's 3 spaces. So basically you can just kind of go ahead and line up the 1, 2, 3 right here. And slide it in. So that's good. Okay, now... this can be a little bit of a bear too. I noticed this screw seems to really like this Phillips head. It's like sticking on perfect. So what I'm going to do is turn on my flashlight and hopefully I can just thread it in there and go. Oh, nice. Yes. Okay. That's going good. So I'm just loosely have it tightened in there. Now I'm going to go for these guys. And you'll see it kind of moved out of place a little bit, so be careful. Okay, so I've got the top one. And again, you don't want to tighten fully until you have all of them in there. Okay, now we're going for the bottom. I think, yeah. There we go. Turn this off. Come on. Beautiful. And again, you want to be careful with these. You don't want to strip out anything. That. Perfect. Okay, we are good to go. Ordinarily, I'd put the door panel back on and show you how well my new window switch works, but I'm awaiting a new set of speakers in the very near future. And so rather than, you know, the less you tear a car apart over and over, basically the better. And so I'm just going to keep this door panel off, and the speakers we get are basically just going to be bolt in. I do have a habit of keeping all OEM parts no matter what, no matter if they look kind of crappy, because you never know if maybe someday I'm going to sell her and the next owner wants all the OEM parts. You know, it's kind of a bonus. So there we go. Okay, time to move on. Now we're going to replace the trunk actuator. So the first thing we have to do is basically pull this panel right here. And thank goodness it is below and not up, because, you know, now our hands won't get tired or our arms. But it's a series of clips we have to take off first. And these are the kind of clips where you poke in the middle, it pops up, and then you take it out. So these are notorious for breaking pretty much as soon as you take them off. And so we will have new clips on order. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, just a quick push in the middle, and it goes down, and then with your fingernails, pull out like that. So you can see what that looks like. So there's one, and well, we're not reusing them, so I'm just going to toss. Oh, well, that one was primed to come out. Okay. now I'm not going to fling this. There we go. So now I should be able, oh, perfect. There we go. And there's no switches or connectors or anything like that. So we are good. Let's move on. So there are a few things we need to do to get the actuator motor out. First thing we need to do is undo this clip on the actuator rod. And so that just basically flips down like that. And then you pull out the rod and you can just let it hang. Now we're going to move over to this clip, and on the back side it has that same kind of little tiny push button. Oops. So you can get in there and wiggle it out. And now we have 3 10mm bolts. And so make sure, yep, it's on reverse. Now let's go ahead and take these off. Okay, here's the first one. There we go. And keep one hand on it. And now it should be able to slide right out a little bit. But the rod, oh yeah, make sure the rod comes with it. And it looks like it's, there we go. Is there anything else? Oh, it looks like it may still be connected. It's been a while, so I'm going to investigate this and be right back. So it turns out there is one more actuator clip right here, as you can see. And so we're going to pop that off. Yeah, this one is a bit more, there we go. Okay, so that kind of swings up and away. Oh, perfect. And now, remember that rod right there? Now it's out. So let's go compare parts. Well, guys, other than being a different color, they're exactly the same. This is great. And so we got all new clips. We have the rod included, and it looks good. Let's go throw it in. I can tell you right now, this is a bit of a pain in the ass going back in, but the first thing we're going to do is basically thread the actuator rod through. And before we do anything else, we're going to connect up, remember that shorter actuator rod right here. And so I kind of went ahead and did this before we filmed, just because it's been a while. And I noticed that if you stick your fingers through here, hold it up in the middle, and then, because you have to get it through that hole. And again, I did some really nice swear words while trying to get it, but it's a lot easier. Yes. And that's what you want to happen. So it's a lot of finagling, but I know you guys can do it. And now we're gonna push over this clip. And since, beautiful. Since it's brand new, it can be a little sticky, but we got that. And so now, okay, so now we're gonna line up the bolts here and with the bolt holes, and this is good. And what you don't wanna do when you're taking this apart is especially strip out this one, because it's actually connected to the body of the car. So, okay, now we're all lined up. I'm gonna grab my bolts, and first I'm just gonna finger tighten. If I can get it in there. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And there. Actually, bring my hand down a little so it's a little bit easier. Come on. Well, you know what? Let's try this one then. When in doubt, move to the next one. Okay, so that should keep it into place. Perfect. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna leave them finger tight for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put the switch back on, or the connector, sorry. Let's see, so that button went in back. There we go. And then remember this rod right here, we're gonna put this back. So it goes into the hole, and then the clip slides from underneath, clips on. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up these, and we're pretty much good to go. Okay, so we got the actuator in, and it looks good. You guys saw me do it, but unfortunately now something else is broken because now the motor doesn't even turn. So I'm thinking it's either a switch or a relay that lives in this panel here. And I'm not going to go ahead and do the antenna right now because I'm a little tired. But as long as we're going to be breaking open that panel anyway or taking that off to do that, I think we're going to end up saving it for Blueberry Part 6. So sorry guys, sometimes this happens and you know, nothing's perfect. Even Blueberry. Anyway, okay. So getting into a better mood here. But as always, thank you guys so much for tuning into R&D Garage. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all your comments recently. They mean a lot, you know, and I know I say that a lot, but honestly, I really truly mean it. You guys rock. So yeah, so we're gonna continue filming Blueberry Part 6 soon. And yeah, catch us midweek. Have a great week, you guys. Okay guys, so this was supposed to be a continuation of why the trunk, you know, wasn't working, the actuator, and kind of funny story. So we were coming back today to work on the antenna, but we stopped on the way to take some photographs of the car. And without thinking, I went ahead, and I'm gonna unlock it right now. Without thinking, I went ahead and went like this. Yeah, so the ghost in the car fixed itself. Now, obviously, this isn't like a real fix, and I am going to get to the bottom of it because it's just weird. But yeah, so anyway, it seems to be working right now. I'm not going to mess with it. When I pull the fender to start work on the antenna, I'll dig in deeper and see what's going on. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Anyway, thanks, Blueberry, for working.